Hello, it's me again. Welcome back to Flying Fids. For today's video, I'll be showing you how to make DIY Nutriberries or DIY bird treats for your birds. So let's get started. You don't have to use exactly what I'm using, so you can definitely substitute anything in this recipe for other parrot-safe ingredients. I'll be sure to list some alternatives on the screen. So for the DIY Nutriberries, I'm going to be using a half a cup of dates, 6 dried figs, 1/8 cup of a combination of almonds and walnuts, a teaspoon of pumpkin seeds, also a teaspoon of flax seeds, mine are already ground, a teaspoon of chia seeds, a teaspoon of sesame seeds, also a teaspoon of spray millet crumbs, 2 teaspoons of oats, and finally a tablespoon of pellets. I'm using Harrison's. So when you're looking for dried fruit, make sure it doesn't have any added sugars and it doesn't use preservatives like sulfur dioxide or anything sulfur related in it, because that is not good for your birds. And if you have a dehydrator, you could also dehydrate your own fruits and even vegetables to add to this recipe. And lastly, make sure that the nuts that you use are also unsalted. As for the materials that you'll need to make the DIY Nutriberries, you'll need a food processor to combine the ingredients. We're going to be baking this for a little bit, so you'll also need a parrot-safe baking sheet with parchment paper. I'm going to be using my silicone baking mat instead. You'll also need a spoon, and then you'll need a container to store your DIY Nutriberries. Now for the fun part, making the Nutriberries. So the first thing that we're going to be putting into our food processor is our dates. The dates are going to help us keep all of the ingredients together, so it's going to act as our glue. You want to blend the dates until it forms a ball in the food processor, or if you're using a blender, you want to blend the dates until the consistency is sticky and gooey. After the dates are the right consistency, for the rest of the ingredients, you want to add them in the order of ingredients that you want to be finely chopped up first, and then ingredients that you don't want to be as chopped up, you're going to add that towards the end. I want to add my figs, almonds, and walnuts in next. So I'm going to pulse this until it looks kind of chunky and still has some big pieces of figs, walnuts, and almonds. So as I continue to add more ingredients, these pieces will get smaller and smaller. Then I'm going to add in my pumpkin seeds and pulse for a couple of seconds just to chop it up a bit. So this is what the mixture looks like so far. Then I want to add in my seeds. So I got my ground flax seeds, chia seeds, sesame seeds, and also my spray millet. I'm going to pulse this until it's combined, so for a few seconds again. After that's good, it'll look something like this. You can see that it's combined kind of well, and I'm going to add in my oats and pulse a few seconds again just to give it a really rough chop. And since I want to keep my pellets whole, it's going to be my last ingredient to add into the food processor, so I'm going to add that in and then pulse for a couple seconds again until it's combined. After all of the ingredients are in the food processor and it's thoroughly combined, it should look something like this, where you should be able to see bits and pieces of all the ingredients that you added. And now we're going to preheat our oven to 325 degrees Fahrenheit. While the oven is preheating, you want to start rolling the Nutriberry mix into balls. I'm using my spoon to help pick up the mixture and put it into my hands to form it into about nickel-sized balls, and then place it evenly spaced out onto my baking sheet with my silicone baking mat. After you've got all of your Nutriberries ready and rolled up, you want to pop it in the oven for about 5 minutes, and when the Nutriberries are done, you want to set them aside to cool off completely on the baking sheet before storing it into an airtight container, and then store it in a cool, dry place. Now we let our critics critique our lovely DIY Nutriberries. So that's how we make our DIY Nutriberries. This is actually my first time making it, and it actually came out pretty great. I hope you guys try this out. Don't forget to like this video, especially if you want to see more DIY bird treat recipes, and also leave a comment down below and let me know if you guys will try this out and what your birds think about the homemade Nutriberries. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in next week's video. Bye!